Sandra Rein. I arrived here in the fall of 1989.
I'm Jim Hendrickson, and I was born in the Bardo community.
My name is Sonja Hendrickson. I was born here in Camrose.
I attended from 1948 to I graduated in 50, 2 years.
I attended 3 years from 1951 to 54. Time that Camrose College was Camrose Lutheran College High School in the olden days.
My major was political studies at the time, and it was a 3-year Bachelor of Arts degree. There were no 4-year options, and it was still very liberal arts. And I should say, in 1989 when I came, it was Camrose Lutheran College, CLC. And then in my second year, it became Camrose Lutheran University College, the unfortunate Clucker years, and then became Augustana by the time I finished. So I went to 3 institutions.
I remember flooding the rink, the hockey rink, and we would do it 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was the only time that we were permitted to go up to 3rd floor, which was the girls' flat. We used the fire hoses from there to flood the rink that was out behind the old main.
And this was all in Old Main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we actually lived in they had the gym built and the rooms around the gym, which is where we lived. So the girls were all in Old Main and the boys were in the boys' dorm.
Everyone took a religion class each year, and I think it was really very solid in terms of not being so denominational, but being simply religious education from a Christian point of view, primarily. And I think it was good, solid teaching, so that it gave you some background, if you didn't have a lot of family background, in that aspect of education.
Didn't know probably anything about its Lutheran history, or I didn't know the res rooms weren't, or the res buildings weren't co-ed until I arrived. I was kind of, maybe not all that well informed, but it was really class sizes, and I thought Camrose would be just sort of a perfect size place to go as opposed to Edmonton at the time.
Ed Markin's chemistry class was something that people always looked forward to and enjoyed. He was a first-grade teacher. Anna Hoymie's trigonometry class, where she'd start one corner of the blackboard and she'd go all the way across, only occasionally pausing to turn around and look at us to see if we were still following. George Moy in French. I can still remember, I don't remember what the rule was, but it was on page 222.
What was really beginning was a kind of campus response to gender divisions or issues, and some of it I would say happened around the Montreal Massacre, which is my first year of university. And I can remember sitting in Solheim when these reports started to come in, and sitting there, and 14 women have been targeted, they're dead, and having people say, well, they weren't targeted because they were women. What, it was random selection that he just happened to notice. And it really did open up a kind of debate on campus. I think 1989 was also in that transition period where the number of official Lutheran students was surpassed by official Roman Catholic students. So it was always kind of a joke, like, we're at this Lutheran university, but it's mostly Roman Catholic, other, or, non-faith. So it diminished. And the other thing that was always really obvious and important to me as a student was that academic freedom was held up. So what happened in the classroom was not subject to any kind of religious authority.
I think one thing that I do recall hearing older people talking about their time at college as being, looking back and saying, you know, those were the best days of our life.
The academy here was very strong, and the students had been going out as graduate students for a number of years. The education was known. And in fact, one time I ran into a colleague who was at another university, and for a brief period while she was a grad student, she did some sessional work here. And she said, you know, the thing that I find so strange, she said, I don't know how big Augustana graduating classes are, but she says, I assume they've never been huge. And she says, and yet when I do anything in Edmonton and I'm dealing with lawyers or professionals or in some kind of policy context, she says, I find a disproportionate number of Augustana graduates.